Gisele Bündchen's life has changed in ways that most people only experience once or twice in a lifetime. Divorce, redefining love, and now welcoming a new child in a completely different chapter of her life. This reading is not about judgment, headlines, or speculation. It's about understanding the emotional shift that happens after a long marriage ends and what kind of love, peace, and clarity replaces it. So today I'm asking the cards, how does Giselle truly feel in this new chapter of her life? Emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. Now that she's no longer Tom Brady's wife, but fully herself again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to me and my spirits. This should be a really interesting, fun reading. I want to get deep into the cards, and I am using my Afro Brazilian tarot deck. Okay, so let's get into this card reading about Gisele Bündchen. And really, I'd like to figure out, where is she energetically at this moment in her life? And so the first question that I have for the tarot is, what emotional need did Giselle finally choose herself for after the divorce? And just so you know, although you can't see me, I'm shuffling. And when I pull a card out of the deck, I'm pulling from random sections of the deck. So the question is, what emotional need did Giselle finally choose herself for after the divorce? Okay, the first card out of the deck is the Three of Pentacles. So, the emotional need that Giselle finally chose herself for after her divorce is the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is an amazing energy for someone to choose after divorce, because it's truly an expression of confidence, and it's a symbol of overcoming trials. This is exactly what we want to see for someone who has had a life and a career in the spotlight, who has gone through a divorce. You want to see the Three of Pentacles come out after a divorce. It's also a card of nobility, perfection, and fame. And we know that Giselle has all of those qualities. I mean, Three of Pentacles is her life. She is that girl. She's well known all over the world, and her beauty not only comes through physically, but if you've ever seen her conduct herself in interviews, she comes across as being very personable and very much a down to earth person. I really like Gisele Bündchen's energy and her personality from what I see on TV. So I'm really happy to see that the tarot gave us the Three of Pentacles as Giselle's emotional need following her divorce, because that's just positive. That's all positive energy. Good for her. She chose herself, and she chose confidence. And she also chose to overcome those trials that in many ways has probably been a challenging situation for her, probably for quite some time, because her and Tom were together for a while. And I want to just say this. This is in no way saying anything negative about her ex-husband, Tom Brady, or anything negative about their marriage. But we all go through things in our relationships, especially marriages. So, Three of Pentacles, it's off to a good start. Okay, let's go on. The next question is, what shifted in Giselle's sense of self once the marriage ended? I want to know. What shifted in her sense of self once her marriage ended? This is an important question, because a lot of people saw Giselle moving on quickly after her divorce. It's been a lot of comments about, oh, she moved on real quick. She wasted no time being unhappy. That's what I'll say. And she moved it right along. for one reason or another, her marriage to Tom Brady, it just was not working. And she did not belabor the point. She didn't waste a lot of time. She made a decision and she moved on and she moved forward. And since then, she's had a lot of critics because of her actions and how she moved. But, for the purpose of this reading, honey, I want to know what shifted inside of her. What shifted in her sense of self once her marriage ended? And so out of the deck comes the Magician. Ooh, a major arcana card. The Magician. My goodness. The tarot is really spilling all the secrets now, honey, because the Magician card represents creativity. It represents work and an industrious man, which is amazing when you really think about it, because out of all the cards the tarot could have gave us, it gave us the Magician. This tells us what shifted in her sense of self once her marriage ended. It just seems like this energy is suggesting to us that she felt very light, like a weight had been lifted off of her shoulders. What shifted inside of her made her feel more creative. And if you've been following Gisele Bündchen, then you know that she welcomed a baby with her partner after going through her divorce. Tom and Gisele finalized their divorce in October 2022, and she welcomed her new baby in February of 2025 with her partner Joaquim Valente. And the so when it comes to the creative energy, that is really, really present with the Magician card, because she literally created a new life in this new chapter of her life. With the Magician card, the tarot is giving us a nod also to masculine energy, because the Magician is also a representative of the energy of an industrious man. And why is that important? Why is that important? Let's talk about why that's important. Because after Gisele's divorce, it's been widely known and widely reported the pace that she moved on. This is the biggest criticism we're going to hear about Gisele, is how quickly she moved on to her new partner, Joaquim. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know a lot about her new partner. Many of you listening, you guys may know more. I'm not too sure how much has been reported on him. Anytime I've ever seen images of Gisele and Joaquim, it has always been them doing something kind of like athletic or outdoor type activities. And they've been dating for some time now. They've been dating for over a year, I'm pretty sure. But the Magician card is symbolic of an industrious man. An industrious man is a man who consistently puts in hard work, a man who has a strong work ethic and is dedicated to achieving his goals, whatever the task may be. These are the type of men that show self-motivation and focus, as opposed to being like couch potatoes or lazy. The Magician card is a card of hard work. And the interesting thing about this guy that Gisele has moved on with is that he is a jujitsu instructor. And what that ought to tell us is that there's a great part of him that's likely entrepreneurial. And you can't be entrepreneurial and not be industrious, honey. So he obviously puts in a lot of time and energy into his body. I mean, that's evident in the pictures that we've seen of him and Gisele together. And his work ethic in terms of keeping up with his physical health and most likely his business. Because if he's a jujitsu instructor, he's a business owner, a businessman of some sort. So the magician is really pointing to a shift in Giselle's values. It's indicative of the idea that she has a lot of respect for men who are hard working, which is very much the type of qualities she found attractive in this jujitsu instructor who she started this new chapter and has started a family with. So that's really great and that's impressive. As you get older, what you value can oftentimes change. So I think that, and that's not to say anything about Tom Brady, because we know Tom is that dude as well. And obviously he's worked hard in and throughout his career. That's not a diss or a shot against him. It's just that what she was attracted to in Tom Brady might not necessarily be what attracts her to her new partner Joaquim at this stage in her life. So that's great. Come on, Terrell. Come on. Keep giving us the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Okay, so the next question is, what does this current relationship awaken in Gisele that has gone dormant? And again, I don't want to make this reading about her ex-husband or there being anything wrong or negative about him and their marriage. It's not about Tom Brady. I just want to state it's not about him. But what I think we all can identify with is that after you've been with somebody for some time, oftentimes you get a little complacent and things kind of settle in, and let's be honest, we all get kind of comfortable. And so this question is appropriate. Something was awakened in Gisele because she did not waste any time moving on once she was able to see that her and Tom were not on the same page. So this relationship that she's currently in with Joaquim, it woke her up. It definitely woke her up. There was a part of her that had to have been dormant. And so, what was it? I want to know. I want to know. Out of the deck comes the Seven of Swords. Ladies and gentlemen, the Seven of Swords energy is the energy of hope and astuteness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's break this down. Because astuteness, okay, I want y'all to hear me when I say this. Astuteness is a very important energy in this equation because to be astute is to be able to assess a person or a situation and turn that assessment into an advantage for you, honey. Okay, you better follow this. My God, my God. Okay, spirits, spirits. Come through. That's amazing. Because really, from the outside looking in, you can actually see that. I don't know if y'all can see it. I can see it. And think about it like this, Gisele and Tom had been together for a very long time. And Tom, from what I recall, he retired from football. And it seems that his retirement was very short-lived. And as soon as he retired, he unretired and went back to play one more season. And so a lot of the people and the public around the time really thought that maybe that was why Gisele decided to end the marriage. I don't know if y'all remember, or maybe y'all don't really follow football like that, but I remember it was a lot of rumors and whispers around that because, she moved on and she's given so much of her life when she was with Tom Brady to football. Well, in this reading, I'm not going to assess whether or not that's true. I want to be clear. But that was a bit of the public perception at the time. Regardless of what the reason was, they decided to get divorced. The Seven of Swords indicate that she had a lot of hope that maybe possibly her marriage was going to work out. But at the same time, Seven of Swords is such a strong card. I mean, dang, it's a strong card, ladies and gentlemen. And so, if we look at how seamlessly Giselle was able to work with Tom to get their divorce finalized quickly, that is a signal that she also had a lot of hope that moving on was going to be the best outcome for her, her life, and her family. And that is all Seven of Swords energy, honey. Okay? So let's soak that up. All right? Again, it goes back to the energy of astuteness. Let's revisit that because I don't want y'all to miss that part. Okay, Seven of Swords is about being able to accurately assess a situation and assess a person so that you can make the best decision for yourself and make it a point to make sure you are in an advantageous position regardless. And that's what Giselle's relationship with Joaquim was able to stir up inside of her. See, a lot of people fail because they don't know how to accurately assess. So many of us end up being in situations or in relationships where it's like, let me give him another chance. I know things are challenging for him right now. Let's give him another chance. And, we hold out on hope that, what we want our partner is going to ultimately honor and work through. But when we talking about being astute, you gotta be able to accurately assess the situation and accurately assess the person. Go ahead, Giselle. She did what she had to do, and she was spot on. Because after having been in a marriage with Tom Brady for 13 years, apparently there was a little bit of hope that was still inside of her, but much of her hope had been dormant. And I guess Joaquin woke that hope up, honey, because she was like, "Look, I'm out." Okay, so let's go to the next question. I'm loving this reading, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all are loving it too or enjoying this reading. Go ahead and click the like button if you feeling this. Okay, so like I said, this is very, very telling. Let's go on to the next question because I'm trying to get deep. I want to know, how does motherhood in this chapter of her life feel different from before? Giselle and Tom, my understanding, they already have two children together. I believe they have a girl and a boy. And Tom's his oldest son is actually from a previous relationship. So he and Giselle have two biological children together. And so I believe Giselle at this moment in time, she's actually in her mid 40s right now. So to have a child at this age and stage in her life, this is really motherhood in a different chapter of life. So I really want to know, how does motherhood feel in this chapter for Giselle? So, let's see. Let's see. The tarot gives us the King of Wands, baby. The King of Wands. Come on out now. Come on out, King. Well, the King of Wands is an energy of fidelity and security, okay? It's also an energy of being task oriented and making a decision. Wow. Okay. Okay. I hope y'all picking this up. So the tarot is really giving us some great insights here. Okay, let's start with the energy of fidelity. Let's break that down. Let's break that down. Okay. So fidelity is faithfulness to a person. It's often a demonstration of loyalty and support. And King of Wands is also an energy of task and decision. So this tells us that at this stage in Giselle's life, she wanted to be a mother. And anytime you have a woman who is at her middle age, for lack of a better word, because people be sensitive about the age thing, but technically she's middle age, okay? Anytime you get a middle-aged woman who already has children and she actively decides to have another child, that's typically an indicator of someone who actually wants to have a baby. And, we don't know. We are out on the outside looking in. Let's just be clear. We on the outside looking in. And I'm not going to pull any cards on this, but it's a good chance that maybe Gisele wanting another child was a point of contention between her and Tom. King of Wands says she wanted to have another child. And maybe Brady didn't want to have any more children. Who knows? Like I said, I'm not going to pull any cards on that. But what I can tell you is that King of Wands is very clear. Gisele wanted to be a mom again at this age and at this stage in her life. This energy indicates that she is a completely devoted mother, and that this baby has energized her in so many ways. And this feels different for her because likely she probably thought she was done having children, because her children right now, I imagine they're somewhat older. I don't really know how old her children are. I'm sure they're still probably young. If not teenagers, they're probably young adults. But regardless, she wanted another baby. The King of Wands is a very clear statement on this question. She wanted another baby. And the tarot is indicating this very clearly. This child makes her feel more secure. She knew at mid 40s that the window of being able to have another child was likely closing. And so King of Wands says that Gisele was decisive. She wanted this child. And this new partner of hers, Joachim, he obviously was in alignment with her on that concept because in 2025, they welcomed a baby boy. So look here. She was clear. Okay. Let's move on. Next question. Okay. I'm just going to ask. Okay. This is a tough question. Let me brace y'all for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway, okay? What emotional truth does Gisele now understand about Tom Brady, her ex-husband, that she did not understand before? Okay, that we gonna start there, okay? Because this is where and when it gets juicy, ladies and gentlemen. Tarot, come through, honey. This is the juice, okay? Let us know, because we want to know because sometimes we want to get to this emotional truth. All right, I want to know, what is it that Gisele now knows about her ex-husband Tom Brady that she did not know or she did not understand about him before. Out of the deck comes the, oh my goodness, oh, is this the card that I think it is? Oh, the devil, honey. The devil. Spirits. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. Okay, so if you tuned in to my last reading on Tom Brady, and if you missed it, I'm gonna put a link somewhere in here. Because that video was about his feelings about Gisele's new life. But one of the cards that came out in Tom Brady's reading was the Fool, honey, the Fool card. And so it's just amazing now that the Devil card pops out when we're talking about the emotional truth that Gisele now understands about Tom Brady that she didn't understand before. Ooh, okay. So let me fill y'all in, okay? Cuz this is going to be deep right here. Okay, so what the Devil card is revealing is when it comes to Tom and Gisele, their relationship, there's a lot of passion there, okay? There is a lot of passion. And you know, with passion comes some intense emotions, a lot of feelings, both good and bad. Y'all done had passionate relationships, okay? Passionate exchanges. But passion can very quickly lead to rage and deceit. All right. And this is all encompassed in the Devil card, which is, in fact, a major arcana. And this is so revealing because that emotional truth that Giselle's now understands about Tom that she didn't understand before, she understands that between the two of them, there's actually a lot of love and a lot of passion for each other. And you know, when you saw them on the red carpet or in photographs, that I feel like that love and passion came through. But there's also a lot of anger and rage over things that I'm sure transpired during and over the course of their marriage. And ultimately, it's led her to feeling like she was deceived, honey. She feels like he deceived her. Now, what she felt like she was deceived about, okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not pulling any cards on that. But you guys who have tuned in, you more than likely know the history of that. And it's quite possible that maybe she felt that when Tom said he was going to retire from football, that he actually meant it. Or maybe Tom agreed to having another child and then changed his mind. And I'm just throwing out these theories based off of some of what the cards have revealed to us. But you know, she may have held on with Tom until she saw that what she wanted was not gonna happen, okay? Because again, maybe he changed his mind. Either way, that's a theory. That's not what the tarot is saying explicitly, okay? I'm just pulling together what I can kind of piece together from the messages the tarot has revealed in this reading. Like I said, I'm not going to pull any cards on it, but I want to tell you, wrapped up in her passion and love for Tom is a woman who feels rage and anger towards him for deception. She feel like he deceived her, y'all. And there could have been any number of things that happened over the course of their marriage that led her to feeling deceived. You know, I mean, it happens in relationships, you know. Wow, I mean, this is very, very interesting, very powerful. I could never have guessed this, honey. Wow. This is wild. Okay. All right. Last question. Last question. Okay, so what lesson is this entire chapter teaching Giselle's soul? What lesson is this entire chapter, this new chapter of her life, teaching her about her soul, about her energy, about her spirit? I want to know, what is this chapter, this new chapter? What's the lesson in it? Which, to be honest, this seems like a very beautiful chapter in her life, according to what the tarot has revealed to us. But there are lessons in everything. So, out of the deck comes the Five of Cups. Five of Cups. Okay, so here's the thing. You know, Five of Cups is an energy of loss, it's an energy of fear, disappointment, frustration, and weakness. And these are the strongest lessons that Gisele has, obviously had to confront in this new chapter of her life. Before she was able to enter into this new chapter, she had to get beyond the last chapter. The tarot is communicating to us that she has learned, her soul has learned a lot more about loss, fear, disappointment, frustration, and weakness. And these are the lessons, to be honest with y'all. If you are able and given an opportunity to live life long enough, you will learn how to manage and deal with loss. Okay, whether you want to or not, you're gonna learn it. You will learn how to manage and deal with fear. Life undoubtedly comes with disappointment and frustration. And so I believe these five energies that the Five of Cups has presented as lessons is something that Gisele has had to learn to manage and work through, because although the cards are indicating that she has a new chapter in her life that seems to be quite abundant and filled with happiness, it's very clear that she's had to get through the loss and the fear and the disappointment and just being frustrated in order to come out on the other side and still be hopeful and still be joyous and still feel be abundant, you know? This is very exciting to know. I think this reading is a very, very solid reading. If you take a step back and look at Gisele's story, it clearly shows that you can and likely will go through some difficult times. But I hope you take from this, don't ever count yourself out. It appears that Gisele went against a lot of people. There have been a lot of people who have been criticizing her, even still to this day. They've just been raking her over the coals because of how not the fact that she moved on per se, she moved on really quickly. And so there's a lot of negativity out there about Gisele because people have accused her of cheating on Tom and all this stuff. She married one of the most famous and most well respected men in America, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a golden boy, and to make the decision to go forward with a divorce, my goodness. That had to be a really difficult decision, especially since they had a history and a life and children that were tied together. For her to come out of the marriage on the other side with a new partner and a new child and a new life, that takes a lot of confidence to be able to do that, especially when the public oftentimes is not going to be on your side. And I just want to say these kinds of decisions that people have to make are decisions that are never made lightly. I'm sure she wasn't just so cavalier about, oh, well, let me just move on. You know what I mean? I'm sure she likely probably went back and forth, but with high risk comes some great rewards. And, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel, and stay tuned for the next reading.